Good morning, Miss Lisa. My name is Jonathan, and I'm gonna talk about my grammar exam. First, I'm gonna talk about the four things that I'm gonna talk about that are the manuscript form, the capitalization, the use of endmarks, and the using of comma. First, the manuscript form. The manuscript form we use it to like write sentence, paragraph, etc. So then we need to learn the rules. As an example, the next example is the abbreviations. We have four titles as Doctor, Mr., and Miss. There will be DR, MR, and MRS, but not as only as titles. We need to learn that the abbreviation, we can use it in a lot of things. As an example, to us in the school, like will be junior and senior for the school, or and this is very important in time. We have two forms of time that we're gonna use the abbreviation. First, when we refer to time as the clock hour. As an example of that is AM, that is meaning before noon, and PM, that is afternoon. To learn that, it's very important to write sentence that we talk about time. But when we talk about years of a lot of years, we're gonna use these ones that are the AD and BC, that is in the year of Lord and before Christ. As an example, I can say like AD, the year like 1-4 as the day that a person do something. That is a very simple question or a simple or sentence. It's not too much, but it's very important. But another thing that we use the abbreviations is in the organizations or schools or university when they have a long name. As an example, the CIA, the USS, the OAS, UPI, or DFW as organizations. But when we talk about university, we can tell about, like an example, the UTH, University Technology of Honduras. As an example. Next, I'm gonna talk about the capitalization, my second theme. Well, the capitalization, we're gonna use it first. The first rule is that we're gonna say it in all sentence as the first word, the first letter of the word is gonna be capitalization. But in other things, we need to learn that the capitalization, we're gonna use it for persons, places, and things. In person, we're gonna have two things as a common and proper things, as our persons or places. As a proper person will name will be Jacob, William, Joseph, and Sarah. And proper places will be Honduras, KFC, LA, or Tokyo. And things will be planet Venus or tomato or potato as an example. That will be. But if we talk about proper or improper or common names, not common, not as more as common name will be dad, mom, uncle, places as the restaurant, the country, or things that thing is a good example. Next, I'm gonna talk about in the things are that in the abbreviations, we need to always, because we are talking about somebody or someone, we're talking about let that is an example of the common person or common thing is, as we said before, Dr., Mr., and Miss. We're gonna use it again, always gonna use it in titles, organizations, and etc. All the things that we will say in the manuscript form is the same things that we need to put it in capitalization. Next, I'm gonna talk about the using of end marks. First of all, the period, the most common that we're gonna use. The period, we're gonna use it as a declarative sentence or imperative sentence. As an example, we can say as, I like that flush. You're declaring that you love that flush. And the period, we're gonna use it, as I said before, with the abbreviations. As Mr., Doctor, PhD, AM, or BC, before Christ. Next, the question marks or the interrogative point, that is this, the question mark. As an example, is for asking something that is obviously a question. As an example, we can say, what is your favorite color? What's your name? Or what's the meaning of life? Simple questions. And the next is the exclamation point. But the meaning that, and this is the exclamation point. The thing with the exclamation point is that not always we're gonna use the exclamation point as only exclamating. No, you can use it to ask in imperative question or imperative. As an example, we can use it as that food was wonderful. You're exclaiming that it was wonderful. Our imperative will be that it's strong. Go to your room. That is the use of the exclamation point. Next, I'm gonna talk about my fourth one, the using of commas. Well, the commas we're gonna use it in a lot of things. It's very important to know how to use the comma in a sentence. First of all, a common use of the comma is before a conjunction, and the normal conjunction that we use as is, and, but, or, nor, or, yet. As an example, comma, and. As an example of a sentence will be, that is the same thing that I'm gonna say next. I'm gonna tell first the second rule of the comma, and next I'm gonna give an example of a comma before a conjunction, and as well as the second one, that is the commas, we're gonna use it to avoid something or list. And that when we list, it's a good example, comma, and. As an example, we can say as the list of things that we're gonna buy in the supermarket is carrot, tomato, onion, and potato. That's a good example. But as an example of a comma to avoid will be, so that happened my day, comma, and how was your day? Each comma that you can use that comma in a lot of things. That will be my exam for this time. I hope you understand it and you like it, Miss. And I hope you have a good day, Miss. Goodbye.